Richard, East Lansing, Michigan, said, I'm a Michigan State fan. I just want the college football playoff picture to burn. What should I root for? Richard, I understand where you're coming from there. Brighter days are ahead. Congrats on the hire of Pat Fitzgerald. You're going to right a lot of wrongs over the past few years. So, Richard, you just want calamity. You're hurting. Richard says he's hurting. He's bleeding. He wants others to bleed along with him. It's an unhealthy mentality, but I respect you for being honest about it. Here's what you want to root for. Clearly, to me, the biggest chaos mechanism in this whole thing is not pictured on the graphic Bradley is showing you. Well, what do you mean? Did Bradley punch the wrong graphic? No, not this time. No, he never does. But Duke's not top 25 because Duke's not a top 25 team, nor a top 35 team, but they are playing in the ACC championship game Saturday. And so, Richard, I would suggest to you the biggest chaos maker would just be Duke winning the ACC championship. Now, for those of you who don't really pay attention to odds, Duke's a 3.5-point dog. That's it, against Virginia. Humbly, I would lean Virginia in the game, but if you're rooting for chaos, you don't want to lean favorite, Richard. You want to lean underdog. Now, here's why that matters. As we know, as most of us know, I've got to assume someone's kind of coming back because you only pay attention come playoff time. This is no way to live, by the way. You need to be locked in from week one. But if you are one that just came in from the countryside because you heard the playoff horn sound, remember what the rules are and remember what the rules aren't with the playoff. The rule is not all the Power Four conference champs get in the playoff. Even though an alarmingly high percentage of the college football public believes that's the case. That is not the case. The rule is the 5 highest ranked conference champs, period, get auto bids, and then 7 at-large teams get auto bids. Now, or not auto bids, they get, at-large bids. It was always assumed by people, including me, that we've only got 4 power conferences. If you're giving 5 spots to the highest ranked conference champs, surely anyone good enough to win a Power Four conference is going to be among the 5 highest-ranked conference champs. Most years it would be a slam dunk. It would be a no-brainer. This is not that year. If Duke wins this thing, there is sure to be one G5 champ ranked higher. I don't even care who wins the American. Either team will be ranked higher. And there is a distinct possibility if James Madison just wins as a 3+ touchdown favorite against Troy, there will be 2 G5 champs ranked higher than Duke, which means, Richard, the ACC champs out, which kicks in the ACC doomsday scenario that the committee could find themselves facing, and that would be where the dust settles on Conference Championship Saturday. They come in the wee hours of Saturday night, Sunday morning, and they've got to figure out their rankings, and they've got them all sorted out, except they realize, we put all the conference champs in. There's no ACC in there. We've got a conundrum on our hands. Are we going to be able to put an ACC team in? And that's where we have to find out what Brigham Young did. You're going to have to follow me here. Brigham Young's not in the ACC, but here's what I'm thinking, Richard. What I'm thinking, the committee will never admit it, but what I'm thinking is if they do get to that Rubicon, they may be willing to cross it and put Miami in. And here's what would help them. What would help them is if Brigham Young loses and they drop out of the way and it's just Miami versus Notre Dame right next to each other, I think some minds could change at the 11th hour in that room about how they value head-to-head. And I think it would be enough to catapult Miami over Notre Dame and put them in the playoff to represent the ACC. Is it supposed to work that way? Of course not. We've long since stopped caring about how it's supposed to work around here. And frankly, none of us even know. I mean, do you watch the playoff committee reveal on Tuesday night? Do you hear those ridiculous explanations? So that's one thing. Here's another thing. Quick 5-second timeout. Check and make sure you're subscribed to the channel. It keeps it free. We love you. All right, back to the show. I just mentioned the concept of Brigham Young losing. It's chaos potentially whether they win or they lose, Richard. So you just root for the Big 12 championship game. You can be like Rob Lowe. You just put on a Big 12 hat instead of the NFL hat. Because if Brigham Young wins Saturday, then they're going to the playoff. They'll be one of the 5 highest-ranked conference champs. They're going to the playoff. So is Texas Tech. That means 2 Big 12 teams in the playoff, which we didn't plan on. And that means someone's got to fall out. That someone is, in all likelihood, Notre Dame. That would be a mess. Now, there are some people out there who believe, no, it doesn't have to be that way. Alabama could get blown out in their conference championship game, and they drop out. I have to see that to believe it. First off, because I don't think Bama's going to get blown out, even if they lose. Secondly, even if they do, even if it's 35-10, I don't think the committee's dropping them out, but for reasons that I'll talk about in just a second. But if Notre Dame is sitting there and they watch Brigham Young lose, it's not cause for celebration quite yet either, because like I just said 5 minutes ago, more like 3 minutes ago, a Brigham Young win and they're in and Notre Dame's out. A Brigham Young loss, then you start asking, how bad does Brigham Young have to lose for the committee to drop them? Because the committee, generally speaking, is not in the business of punishing you for losing a conference championship game when everyone else is sitting home. Like, I firmly believe that. But look at him sitting right there at number 11. You know as well as I do, the Big 12 is not respected in that committee room as much as the Big 10 and the SEC. So while I sit here and confidently say Alabama can get blown out and I don't think they're dropping out, I can't say that for Brigham Young. Also, it wouldn't pain the committee nearly as much to drop them because they're already not in the playoff to begin with. You drop Bama, you would be dropping them out of the playoff. Brigham Young wouldn't have been in the playoff unless they win their conference. But if they drop them, just one spot, that puts Miami and Notre Dame head-to-head. And that conversation could get interesting, especially pending Duke or Duke's outcome. The third thing is I think the same thing applies to Alabama. Not in the same sense. Okay, I just told you I think Bama's in either way. If they lose, we're going to find out how much it's possible to be penalized for losing a major premier Power 2 conference championship game. Power 2 is a classification of college football that doesn't officially exist, much like Area 49 or 51. Area 49, I don't know. It may be where the real secrets are at. But it's not supposed to be Power 2, but it really is. We're going to find out how much you can get punished for losing that game. We already talked about that. What happens if Bama wins? Blowout game, close game. They're number 9 right now. I've heard some people I respect who have said they don't think Bama can jump up past number 5. And I completely disagree. Not only do I disagree, I think if they win by 1 point over Georgia, they're going to be a top 4 seed and have a first-round bye. Again, I just want to remind you, to suggest anything other than that would be to be telling the SEC's 1 seed, even though they're ranked behind Georgia, they are technically the 1 seed. You just won the conference as the 1 seed, but we're not going to vault you up there. Instead, what we're going to do is, side note, how far did they drop Georgia? Is that going to be a world where Georgia doesn't drop out of the top 4? Bama doesn't rise into the top 4, and in the aggregate, it's just Texas Tech that sits there? Or what could happen, just on the flip side of that, is the committee agrees with me, and so Ohio State and Indiana are going to be 1, 2 either way. Georgia is either 3 or 4 either way because they're not going to drop them much at all, even if they lose. And they vault Bama up, and look what that gives us at the end of the day. It gives us what we were penciling in here a month ago. The Big Ten champ, the Big Ten runner-up, the SEC champ, and the SEC runner-up as having the first-round buys. The alternative there, or the counter there is, well, what about Texas Tech? I don't know. That's why we're speaking in hypotheticals. What I don't think is going to happen is I don't think Oregon is going to jump up there in the top 4 at the expense of Alabama not jumping up there if they win the conference. That's what I don't think will happen. So, yeah, there's a lot to sort out here. Richard, I think it's going to be a good weekend for you, bud. It has not been a good month for you, but I think it'll be a good weekend.